is Van, and you're listening to my daddy's podcast, The Morgan You Know.
Love the show, and you should check out my buddy Rod Morgan's pod, The Morgan You Know, as I'm confident he's primed to make some waves on the scene.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Morgan You Know podcast, a conversation show about sports and sports entertainment. Sorry, AEW fans out there. I know there's a show coming up soon in Indianapolis. We're not talking about your form of sports entertainment. Sorry to the WNBA. Yeah, I don't want any part of that right now. We're not talking about your sports. Sorry to the Patriot games. We're not talking about that. I don't want any part of that either. We are talking about the NFL and the WWE here on the Morgan You Know podcast network. My name is Morgan. I will serve as your host, the executive producer of this podcast and co-host of this podcast is a dear friend of mine. I've known him since third grade. He is basically the glue of everything.
Yeah, the glue, and I think the glue has dried out a little bit. I think we're having a little bit of audio issues on Rod's end today, but that's okay. Hey, that's what we do at the Morgan You Know. We have some audio and internet issues. If it wasn't that, what would it be? But it happens to the best of us. I'm ready to go. I'm very excited to talk some football. We got a lot of games going on tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of teams tonight. So let's go. But it's weird. Chris, where are you? What are you doing? And where's your microphone? This is weird.
It is very weird. And I am on location. I've been pretty upset with Williams, and I'm even more so now putting Dallas and the Colts this low on this low of a level. I am getting some Manzanillo trees loaded up and ready. I'm going to surround Williams's house. For those of you that don't know, this is the most poisonous tree in the world. You can't even walk underneath it and not get some sort of sickness from it. Williams, your house will be surrounded before long, and you will not be able to leave.
Okay, that's weird. Williams, death threats on the Morgan You Know.
Chris doesn't know I got sensitive skin also, but this isn't even me with these teams. This is Vegas over-unders. So I'm trying not to give anything away for the wins draft league later on coming up early next month. So this is just Vegas, man.
All
so
I see is the Bears in a better breakdown than the Cowboys or the Colts. I just see
that's what Vegas thinks, man. Send your poisonous trees out to Vegas.
Let's just hope Anthony Richardson isn't the starter. But our starter is Rod, and Rod has a question for us, I believe.
I was gone for 2 minutes, and you guys are on to the NFL already? Goodness gracious, man. You guys can't even get introductions done without starting to argue about the NFL around here. You can tell that we are ready for some different sports. Like I sort of spoke about at the top, but maybe you didn't even hear me. Who knows what's going on with the internet over here at Casa de Morgan. But I sent my son, Van, a.k.a. the Vanimal, off to his first day of high school on Wednesday. And so that got me thinking. Sure, we could do the nostalgic, tear-jerking kind of question. What fun is that? Let's actually have some fun. Let's think back to when all of us were in school as best we can. Those years were quite a while ago for some of us, quite a while ago for others of us here on the podcast. But to our favorite first day of school outfit, right? We all battled with our moms and our dads all summer long, or they forced us to go back to school and get clothes, whichever way that it went. And you had to have that one outfit that you were ready to show off with first day of school. So my question to you gentlemen is, what's your best memory of your most favorite, your craziest, the one you're still sad about, the one that you're like, I can't believe I wore that? Your choice, but your most memorable first day of school outfit. Chris King, I'll be interested to hear this one.
I mean, so if I think back to senior year of high school, it is pretty much what I currently still wear. All right. Cargo pants, a graphic tee, maybe a hoodie, and some tennis shoes. All right. But if I go to my most memorable, the one that sticks out in my mind, I think that goes back to sophomore year. I know this was a long time ago. All right. But it was classic Levi's jeans, belt, white T-shirt, boots. Not cowboy boots, but like work boots. That was my sophomore year, and it looked like I came right out of the field.
Were you in FFA classes at the time, or were you just doing the uniform of the AAFFA students?
I was 4-H.
4-H. All right. Because I was going to say, because I distinctly remember Jimmy being in the halls of Plymouth High School and coming around that corner where the 4-H guys, the agriculture guys would be doing their thing. And the exact outfit that Chris was discussing would be 5 or 6 of those dudes would be heading to the cafeteria after getting done with the morning of work, right? I was in art class and
That's pretty much
class and acting class, and those guys were actually doing things with their hands.
Yeah,
Jimmy, how about you?
Done.
All right. So one of my favorites was, I think this is like 4th, 5th grade. Umbros were really big back then. And oh yeah, I wore these Umbros for sure. And I had the Michael Jordan white t-shirt. I had the matching shoes, the Nike shoes, black in that same color. I was looking good, Rod.
Nice, Jimmy Jam. I wondered about Umbros. I had a pair of Umbros in 5th grade. I had to have them for my basketball shorts, even though they were a soccer company, but I just absolutely had to have my Umbros because in my 5th grade head, those were the coolest shorts that you could have. I, Jimmy Jam, will go a little older than you. I will take us to, I believe it was probably my 8th grade year at Lincoln Junior High, I believe. Okay. And I believe I was all over my mom to get me a specific pair of, and Chris, it's funny that you brought up the white t-shirt and the work boots because what I wanted were overalls. All right. I didn't want Oshkosh Bagosh overalls. I didn't want Wrangler overalls. I had to have the Guess high fashion overalls, and I had to have one of the straps undone and only one strap on the side because I had to look like I was in a TLC video. So that was the one outfit that I remember being most excited for. Had to have them. They were way expensive. I probably wore them twice.
I always remembered that fad, and I could never pull that off in anyone's wild imagination. I'm glad you could, Rod, but that's something I could never ever have done.
Yes. And now, Jimmy, I don't know if you were able to upload it on the Morgan Studios computers in time, but I have a picture. Now, I don't have a picture of me in the Guess overalls, but I have a picture of.
It's basically this, right? It's that.
There you go. Exactly. Yes, exactly. I looked a little different underneath those overalls. Imagine this body that Jimmy's about to show you right here underneath those overalls. That's what you had rocking my 8th grade year at Lincoln Junior High in Plymouth, Indiana.
Did you rock the belt with your overalls too, Rod? Because that was something that I didn't see. I didn't see a lot of people rocking the belt.
We have another couple pictures that are pretty cool, though. Do you want to show those, Rod?
Well, listen, for those of you watching us on YouTube, and remember, if you're listening on Spotify, we are available over on YouTube. You can follow us there, and you can check our video capabilities out for you. And so Jimmy showed you a picture of the Umbros. I got a picture of me in freshman year basketball gear, and there's also a picture of Jimmy and I, both from freshman year, possibly available. So that's what you need to try to seek out. Maybe some of these will leak out on social. I don't know, but you might have to tune into. Oh, there it is. We're now looking at the picture of resplendent freshman age Rod, probably clocking in at a 77 pounds. It looks like possibly in that
around
picture. There. And you would be really surprised at the amount of hair I have there based on what the hair I have in this episode. So that's well worth checking out there. Williams, your thoughts? There's Jimmy.
Gold.
There's Jimmy and I. Jimmy cheesing. Jimmy get a big old grin on there in that picture.
Yeah, I did. I was happy. It looks like our faces are superimposed. This is an actual picture, but it does look fake, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is our freshman year basketball team because they would not allow me to play basketball any year past freshman year. But that's me, Jimmy, Chris Davis, shout out, Travis Coles, shout out, our guy Brett Westcon's there, Nick Babcock, unfortunately, RIP, and Dave Shattuck, I believe, there on the right. You can see a little
Cam
bit.
Collins upper left there. Yeah, we got.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Shout out. Hopefully those guys are watching. Give us a like.
I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Williams, how about you? You were going to school right just a little north of us up there in Walkerton, so some of the trends might have been just the same for you.
Right. The one I remember most of, I was actually in Colorado for through 1st through 4th grade, and I was similar to Jimmy. I had like those super wild colors, and I'm trying to find the picture. What just moving here, I'm moving around. I couldn't find the picture, but I had a little duffel bag with my notebook ready to get all the stats out. You know how that goes. But I think that was second grade. What I remember most about that year is that the Hoosiers won the national championship, and then the next day, so this would have been late March, decked out in all IU gear. The kids from Colorado had no idea what was going on, and had to tell them. 1987 Hoosiers took it down. So yeah, that's what I remember most about those days.
Jimmy, you and I always going to wrestling, and Williams just living the gimmick right there, like just proving his bona fides as the sports handicapper right there, just going all the way back to like elementary school, just being a diehard sports fan. You gotta love it.
It's so funny.
Oh, all right. Well, listen, I said it there at the top. There's a bunch of ugliness in the world of sports, but one thing that's not ugly, Jimmy, we got the Field of Dreams game going on Netflix this evening, right? Are you excited for the Field of Dreams game? Like, they paid a lot of money to have Kevin Costner do the commercial for it. We saw it run a bunch during Raw. I got to admit, I'm still not tuning in, but I know you guys all like baseball a little more than me.
I mean, it's great to watch real quick, but I've got other things to do right now.
Yeah, we've never been known to have a sporting event on in the background while we record this.
Never,
have we?
Never.
Chris, how about you? You're on some sort of a hostage scenario there. You're in parts unknown. Are you going to be checking out the Field of Dreams game there in the room?
I don't think I can do Netflix until after we get done recording. But listen, I am all for the Field of Dreams game, 100%. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Whether or not it is a team that you're rooting for that's going to play, you want this to happen. It is one of the greatest baseball movies of all time, right? We should also have a Sandlot game. All right. Let's play in somebody's backyard, right?
Let's go.
Be cool, right? Let's do some things like this. All right. Because that's what this is. Remember, this is a sport. We're supposed to have fun. Nostalgia sells. And that's what this is. I love it. And give me more Griffey Jr. and Sr. coming out together out of the corner. All right. I love that.
They're going to need to get the Sandlot game together real quick because from what I hear, we're not playing baseball next year. So they're going to need to get some team to agree to play the Sandlot game before the end of this regular season if anybody wants to see that anytime soon. But that's bad stuff. We don't want to talk about that. Let's get on to our football preview. I know our guy Josh Williams is chomping at the bit. He's been doing his work. He's been grinding out all the things that we need to know about the NFL season. And then I had to put the Morgan, spin on it. We had to come up with some sort of fun way to present it to the people. So we have taken a journey at sea, right? We have explored the different tiers of the NFL through a journey at sea. We had our first tiers look a few weeks back where it was SOS. Somebody save us with the quarterback from the 2027 NFL draft class. There you go. You see them there. We got the Cardinals, the Jets, the Browns, the Raiders, the Dolphins. Go back to that episode if you happen to be a fan of one of those teams. And then last week, we were on the poop deck. We're on the ship, right? We're on the ship. Things are a little bit better than being completely stranded at sea, but nobody really wants to be on the poop deck. So those are Titans, Falcons, Panthers, Giants, and Saints fans. Apologies to you. Tune in last week to hear Williams' thoughts about those teams. And this week, Jimmy Jam, I was really scratching my head. I was really like, what do I do here? We got more tiers. We know that we're going to be at the Catalina wine mixer at the top, but we have a few other more tiers to finish out. And it hit me. If you ever been on a cruise or if you ever been at a hotel in some beachy location and they have ahead of time where you can sign up for these extra excursions, right? Or when you're checking into your room, you got the concierge and there's this little desk by the side and there's some slick talking guy or gal saying, hey, come over here. And they're trying to sign you up to go snorkeling, right? They're trying to sign you up to go check out the waterfall. But what happens on every one of these things? You get up early in the morning. There's a cattle call of about 45 guests. You all pack onto a fiberglass catamaran that has absolutely nothing going on it other than benches and maybe a little bit of shelter, right? You got some loudspeaker right behind you, blasting some sort of reggaeton that you don't understand. A couple of guys that don't look qualified enough to be driving the boat are driving it really, really fast, passing out rum punch, and then you get to the excursion. Maybe the excursion's cool, maybe it's not. That's this week's tier. The Catamaran Excursion Team. You might see a cool waterfall. You might see a cool starfish when you're snorkeling, but you're probably just going to ride on a fiberglass catamaran and drink a bunch of terrible rum punch. the catamaran excursion tier. Jimmy, what do you think?
I love that. I know it was hard getting there, but we got there finally with the excursion. I did like that. On my honeymoon, actually went on an excursion, and the quote "looky looky, no touchy touchy" came up. I really enjoyed that. And that was not from my wife. That was from the person that don't touch anything down underneath the water.
Nice. That is fabulous. That makes me think, speaking of back to school, I think of one of my favorite bus drivers. I believe it was bus driver Earl. And all he would ever do is yell from the front. He would say, "Hey, buddy, let's don't." That's all he would yell anytime somebody would do something on the bus they weren't supposed to do.
Hey,
Shout
buddy,
out to
let's
that
don't.
guy. Phenomenal. Chris, I saw you smiling there. What do you think of Catamaran Excursion for the name of this tier?
I like it because at first I really thought you were going to like they sign you up and you have to listen to a spiel about a timeshare, but you'll get this extra perk. So I thought you were going that direction. I like
next
the
week.
excursion better. That's next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Next week, you got to sit through the timeshare. All right, Williams, I won't make you respond to my Catamaran Excursion nonsense, but let's
That was fantastic.
Let's get to the breakdown of some teams that I'd like to think that you don't necessarily want to tell anybody right now they're a playoff bound team, but they're high enough up that if a couple of the teams you have ahead of them have a few things break bad and a few things for these teams break good, maybe they're looking at the outskirts of the playoffs, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Where do you want to start at?
Well, I mean, we have a couple of big time teams here. Like just looking at it, we get to talk about my guy Baker Mayfield at one point here. We get to
Jaden
talk
Daniels.
right? We get to talk about Jaden. That's interesting stuff. We get to talk about old man Aaron Rodgers. I definitely don't want to talk about what Aaron Rodgers wants us to talk about, but we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers, the football player. But then we also have mine, Chris, and Jimmy's Indianapolis Colts. So I kind of think we should start with a little amuse-bouche, get my guy Baker out of the way, and then we'll get into the meat of the Cowboys, who are also here too, Chris. Don't think I didn't notice that.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Let's go over 8.5 is plus 115. If you want to take a dive with the Bucks here, Todd Bowles is still there. Zach Robinson comes over from Atlanta as the new OC. They also have a new DC with George Edwards. Strength of schedule, 8th toughest schedule. The net rest is tied for the 18th worst at -2. Offense is spending is up 16 spots and spending up to 3rd. QB spending up 8 spots to 7th. O-line spending up 21 spots to 6th. Running back spending up 18 spots to 9th. They're spending a ton of money on offense here. I would not have guessed that. Even though the Bucs lost Mike Evans in free agency, they're still spending at a top 6 rate there. Defensive spending takes some hits, though, down 6 spots overall to 21st. They're spending the least amount of money in the league at cornerback after losing Jamel Dean to the Steelers. They try to counter that by spending at a top 2 rate at safety. But Bowles' defenses have finished exactly 18th in EPA per play the last 3 seasons. And last year, the Bucs were dead last in allowing a touchdown on opponent red zone trips. His D was bottom 5 in goal-to-go situations also. So he definitely needs to get better there. Tampa recorded their fewest sacks since 2017, only 37. And when the D didn't blitz, they ranked 24th in pressure rate. This is why Bowles blitzes at a top 5 rate. What helped the Bucs stay in the race was that they were 6th in turnover margin last year. Major questions, though, for that offense. They were 24th in rate of plays that gained 10-plus yards, and that was with Mike Evans. They lost the 4th most games to injuries on offense in 2025. They're hoping for a positive regressor there with that stat in 2026. And Rod, there was no come from behind Baker magic last year. The Bucs were 0-8 in games where they trailed at the half. What is going on with your boy?
And honestly, I think what you're pointing to right there is the reason that we kind of have the frosty offseason that we had with Tampa Bay and Baker, right? You know what I mean? Baker wants to get paid. He thinks he's got the resume the last couple of years to get paid. Tampa Bay, I think rightly, right? As much as I love Baker and I sing his praises, I think Tampa Bay's like rightly like, hey, whoa, slow down here. We start paying you $51, $52, $53 million. You know what I mean? That's really going to hamstring us. We think one of the reasons you're good, and you just pointed it out there, Williams, they're spending money elsewhere, right? But I think the big questions I have for Tampa Bay are twofold. Ibuka looked pretty good for a while, and then it definitely fell off. Was that injury? Was that rookie wall? What happened there? Because they're definitely going to need him to step up with Mike Evans being out of town, and they're not going to trade Vita Vea, are they? I mean, like, I know he wants to be traded, but they're not going to do that, are they?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They are spending a lot of money on defense, so we'll see with that. Does Chris or Jimmy have any thoughts on the Bucks here?
Listen, I think that this Baker thing is going to bleed over into the season, and it just seems like with the Mike Evans leaving, again, like you said, Ibuka not doing as well in the second half, I'm very concerned about the Bucks. And that division always seems to have issues. But the good news is every team has issues, and the Bucks could win 6 games and still be in the hunt.
Chris,
I still think they're the best team in the South.
Yeah, what does that mean? That's kind of what I was going to go to there. It's going to be like, good, tell us what's going to happen in the crazy NFC South.
Right? I still think they're the best team. I still think they're going to win the division. I think that one of the problems they have why they were 0-8 in those close games is because they didn't have the good offensive line. I think them going out and spending money shows that, but they still have a weak defense. I mean, you're still looking at 9 wins probably, but that's still going to win this division.
It's very true. Listen, like I said, it's the catamaran excursion team, right? Like you're going to be all packed in. You know what I mean? You're going to be sitting next to some guy from Ohio. He's telling you a bunch of stories about his job that you really don't care about. And you might end up seeing the coolest waterfall you've ever seen in your entire life. Or you may almost die snorkeling. You don't know. I mean, that's what the catamaran excursion is all about. Let's go to, you know what, another team that I think is pretty interesting at quarterback, since we just talked a little bit about our guy Baker. Let's go to Minnesota. Let's go to the guy that Williams, it's another one of the scions, right? It's another one of the disciples from the tree of Shanahan. Minnesota, Kevin O'Connor. He's got JJ McCarthy, we thought. Now he's got Kyler Murray. He made Sam Darnold good. Kirk Cousins looked kind of good. Like, what's going on up there in Minnesota now, Williams?
Yeah, Minnesota over 8.5, minus 105. So it's a little bit juiced to the over there. They bring KOC, Flores, and Wes Phillips all back at head coach DC and OC. Strength of schedule, 15th easiest, right in the middle. Net rest, 11th best at +4. The Vikings had to move on from their GM, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, after they got rid of Darnold, and then Darnold led Seattle to the Super Bowl, while J.J. McCarthy can't complete a pass downfield. But more so, Mensah's 4-year draft history combined for less than 175 starts. That's the second fewest in the league in that time frame, and he failed to draft a single Pro Bowl player. That's pretty crazy. His biggest mistake might have been in 2022 when he decided to trade back in the first round, and he could have taken either stud defensive tackle Jordan Davis or stud safety Kyle Hamilton or even wide receiver Jameson Williams, Waymo for JMO this year in fantasy. McCarthy outside the top 32 in interception rate, EPA, completion rate, passer rating, accuracy, and touchdown interception rate. If you didn't notice, he's outside the top 32. There's only 32 teams in the league, so that's kind of bad. McCarthy, during the first 15 scripted plays, though, of a game when KOC has his fingerprints on the script, he was top 6 in EPA per attempt, top 5 in success rate, top 5 in yards per attempt. But after the scripted plays, McCarthy 35th in EPA per attempt, 34th in success rate, and 33rd in yards per attempt. So he definitely needs his hand held there. And I don't think he's going to get it because that's why they're bringing in Kyler Murray. So total offensive spending up 6 spots to number 7. O-line top 5 in spending. Running back number 7 in spending. And they're spending the most in the league at tight end. Defensive spending about mid-pack everywhere except for safety. They go from number 6 there, drop all the way down to 25th. Sack margin last year minus 11, penalty margin minus 1. The good last year for the Vikes, their D, they were third in yards allowed per play, third in yards allowed per game, second in passing yards allowed per game, second in red zone efficiency, first in pressure rate. But the defense does lose defensive lineman Jonathan Grenard, Jonathan Allen, and Javon Hargrave, so they might take a step back there. The bad news for Minnesota, they're dead last in third down conversion rate. They did sign Jawan Jennings to help out there. Among 93 qualified wide receivers last year, Jennings was 21st in third down target rate. That's a little bit surprising. But they were dead last in interceptions thrown. They led the league in turnovers with 30. Lots to do with that was with McCarthy. And can Kyler be the answer? He's 38th in EPA per attempt on throws 20-plus yards down the field. He also ranks 37th in interception rate on those throws. But the Vikings are projected to face the easiest schedule of opposing passing defenses. So my question to you guys is, can Kyler take this team to the playoffs?
What do we see every year from Kyler Murray and Kyler Murray-led teams? He shows up at the beginning of the season, seems pretty good. People are like, okay, maybe he's back. And then one of 3 things happens. A Call of Duty comes out and he stops playing good. He gets hurt or he becomes just a below average quarterback. I think Minnesota's in a bad spot in quarterback, right? Call of Duty came out with two new well, they're not new, they re-released two old Call of Duty games. So he's gonna be on that. They have another one coming out in November, I believe. So he's gonna be on that. Like, it's not good for Minnesota. Kyler Murray cannot finish a season of football.
Listen,
Yeah,
Chris, I
go
don't
ahead.
doubt you at all. I don't doubt you at all. But here's the other problem I see for Minnesota. Let's flip that. Let's say Kyler Murray does have a good season. He's got it in his contract that they can't tag him. So he's a free agent at the end of this year again. So Minnesota, even if they have a good playoff year run this year with Kyler Murray, which I, Chris, tend to be on your side that that's probably not going to happen. But even if they do, they're in the same position this next offseason that they've been the last 3 offseasons, Jimmy Jam. What in the world's going on up there in Minnesota?
That's the thing. Do they want to be good this year? Because if they are, they're going to have to give Kyler Murray a ton of money to stay because they're not going to make that mistake again. Or do you want to give it a shot if you have a top 10 pick next year? You're going to get a quarterback. You're going to get a quarterback that's probably better than J.J. McCarthy on day one than he is now. So it's tough. I don't know if the Vikings really want to be good, but they do have talent.
I'd imagine that Flores and O'Connor want to be good, right? Like Kevin O'Connor is on a PR tour right now to prove to everybody that the Vikings didn't make the playoffs last year and it's not his fault. And Flores has basically been F the NFL ever since he sued them and would love nothing more than to figure out a way to get back to being an NFL head coach. So I'm pretty sure both of those dudes want to win. And Williams, Mike Sando's quarterback rankings have quotes that are anonymous. But is it possible that an anonymous quote about J.J. McCarthy was still the most hurtful thing ever said about a quarterback when somebody under anonymity said football just looks hard for him? Ouch.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it with the scripted plays, man. He was okay with the scripted plays, and then after that, he just could not do anything. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I don't see him playing very much in 2026.
And Rod,
There
listen,
we go.
Rod, we've got to talk about this, okay?
Okay.
You love the NBA, and we know that. We're not going to do an NBA segment because we've got a lot of NFL going on. The coach of the Minnesota Vikings is Kevin O'Connell, not Kevin O'Connor, Kevin Obama. Kevin O, you made the wrong mistake twice, so I had to call you out on it. I'm not perfect at all either, but I love that. I love you, Rod.
Oh, you're right. It is O'Connell and not O'Connor. Also, O'Connor's dead to me because he left the ringer. If you leave Bill Simmons, you're dead to me. That's just how it works. So I'm really disappointed in myself for even talking to him about him. So thank you, Jimmy, for calling me out on that. Let's go on to the Steelers and the Commanders real quick here. Get some info on both of them before we close out with the main events, the Cowboys and the Colts. Let's start with the Commanders. I don't want to talk too much about the Steelers. Who cares about McCarthy and Rodgers? What do we think about Washington, right? We got Dan Quinn. Everybody loved him recently. Then it was not so good. Jaden Daniels lit the world on fire, but he runs around a lot. I'm interested to hear what Williams, what do you got for me on the Commanders?
Yeah, over 7.5 minus 130 is what their over-under is right now. 4th toughest schedule overall, but they do get the 4th best net rest advantage. Dan Quinn enters his 3rd season. They're bringing in David Blau as the OC. The 2024 version of the Washington Commandos was the luckiest football team in the history of the NFL. No hyperbole. First off, they had the easiest schedule that year. The 2024 team was 8-4 in one-score games, 4-1 in games decided by a field goal, had the 5th healthiest roster, and converted on an unsustainable, insane 87% of their 4th downs. That's why it was the easiest fade ever for them last year, for me to fade them last year. They played the 3rd worst net rest schedule last year. They have an under win total last year. There was no easier under total win total on Washington than last year's team. Spending wise, 23rd in offensive spending, no higher than 15th in any position though. Defensively, they are 7th in total spending, including the most in the league on the D line. Bottom 3 at the cornerback position though. That is quite the contrast considering they were spending the most at that position last year. They went from the 5th healthiest roster in 2024 to the 30th healthiest in 2025. In 2024, number 6 best record in one-score games. Last year, number 26 best record in one-score games. In 2024, number 5 best record in field goal games. In 2025, dead last record in field goal games. So the regression fell off a cliff, largely due because Jaden Daniels got hurt. But Washington D last year, they surrendered 384 yards per game. That was the worst mark in the league, next to last in red zone conversion rate. And their D gave up the most yardage on opponents' opening drives of the game in the league. That was the worst of any Washington D this century. And Washington was only 2-7 against teams with a winning record last year. And they just got more bad news. They just lost Pro Bowl left tackle Laramie Tunsil for the year. Brandon Thorne moved them down from 11th to 22nd in his O-line rankings because of that. Some good news. I've got another acronym for you guys. It's DCOE. It stands for Draft Capital Over Expectation. And Washington had the number 1 class in the draft. So what that means is that they didn't reach for their players. They got the most value in the league based off of consensus rankings. So I guess they got that going for them, right, Chris? The Commandos.
I mean, you are really stretching to have like a silver lining there when you're going to draft capital over expectations.
I am. Plus this draft wasn't that good. So like, if you're going to lead the league in DCOE, this was not the year to do it, really.
Okay, so I was all in on the Commanders this year. I thought they were going to be great. I thought Jaden Daniels was going to have a bounce back year. Tunsil goes down. That right there, gigantic red flag, because you cannot replace him, and that really stinks for him and the Commanders. But then this story about his not wanting LSU to use his name, image, or likeness because they're going to give his number to a player is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen an NFL player do. Rod, he is a grown man saying, no, I don't want him to have my number because, Joe Burrow's number hasn't been used. I don't think he ever said that, but it hasn't. What is going on, and why do we care? And I love DJ Pickett's like, no, I've had it forever. I'm going to keep it. He's not on the team anymore.
I blame Brian Kelly. Didn't Brian Kelly bring Jaden Daniels to LSU? So I'm just going to blame Brian Kelly. I find that whenever I want to make a villain out of anybody involved with anything in college football, I just pick out Brian Kelly, and it makes me feel better about things. So I'm going to go ahead and blame him. But it's not a great look for Jaden Daniels. And here's the thing. I'm just going to say it. Nobody else on this podcast wants to say it. Is it possible that Jaden Daniels is Robert Griffin III and not Lamar Jackson? Okay, because we all thought Robert Griffin III was going to be a great quarterback as well his rookie year, and then it just never really worked out the same for him. So I'm not saying that for Jaden Daniels. I could possibly have him as a keeper on my fantasy team. I think I'm going to go by way of Drake May and not have Jaden Daniels personally, but I could have him. So I'd like to see it, but I'm worried. So another team that I'm worried about is the Steelers, and I'm worried about every player in that locker room, and I'm worried about their time at work, how annoyed they're going to be about having the bad coworker. I'm annoyed by how many times they're going to get thrown under the bus by their quarterback on the Pat McAfee show. I am worried about how many weird homeopathic remedies they're going to be forced to try to participate in with him. Are they going to be told that the brownies have ayahuasca in them? Will they just be fed them against their will? Like, I feel really, really bad for the Steelers. We thought we had gotten done with the Aaron Rodgers experience, and lo and behold, they brought him back and reunited him with his old coach, Williams. That just has to be great for Pittsburgh, right?
Oh, man. This is either going to be a disaster or somehow they're going to win the North. I don't know. Over 8.5, plus 110 there for the Steelers. A 17th and toughest schedule. They're tied with the 24th worst net rest advantage, Mark, though. Out is our friend Mike Tomlin. In is our friend Mike McCarthy, ? If you consider chuckling behind this guy's back, our friend. Over the last 3 years, Mike Tomlin was 22-9 in one-score games. And in his career there, the Steelers won 67% of their one-score games. Over the last 7 years, when you look at the Pythagorean expectation, basically point differential, the Bill James formula to help grade out how teams really should have finished with their record, the Steelers are averaging plus 1.34 wins a year over the last 7 years. So you go from a guy who was super into the details in Tomlin to a guy who lied about games he watched to get the Cowboys job. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes for you, Pittsburgh. Rodgers won.
Williams, wait a minute. Can we let's do this here because we're not going to get another chance. let's all just pause here. Moment of silence for our guy, Mike Tomlin. All right. We had so many fun times over the years talking about Tomlin rah-rah spots, talking about how Tomlin was going to fire him up. No way Tomlin this, no way Tomlin that. We're not going to be able to talk about Tomlin. So let's just take a second or two here, silence for our guy, and then we'll move on. Thank you.
I just don't know if the Steelers are going to be able to get above 500 this year. I think the streak ends. Tomlin leaves. I think the streak ends. I don't think McCarthy and Rodgers can do it.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers won the MVP in 2020 and 2021, but in the last 3 years, he's finished outside the top 20 in DVO rankings at the QB position. He was 33rd in air yards per attempt. Fields, Wilson, and Mason Rudolph all averaged a higher completion percentage than Rodgers did last year, if you can believe that. Last year, the offense was 28th in spending, no change there. The Steelers are actually dead last in O-line spending now, down 4 spots from last year. That should make Rodgers happy. And on the other side of the ball, they were number 1 in defensive spending in 2025. They're number 1 in defensive spending in 2026, including top 4 at the D-line, linebacker, and cornerback. But if you thought this was bad, check this out. Since the 2000 season, this is a fourth quarter stat here. The Steelers had the 5th worst fourth quarter defense since the 2000 season began. Sack margin plus 17, penalty margin plus 6. The Steelers were number 2 in fumble luck and number 4 in one-score game winning percentage. The Tomlin voodoo magic is probably gone. Their O-line was first in pressure rate allowed. They swapped in Rico Dowdle for Kenny Gainwell in the backfield to go along with incumbent Jalen Warren. They also added former Colt Michael Pittman in free agency. So that's the Steelers preview there.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how much to be excited about up there in Steeler land. So we'll let them go and cook for a little while. And I'm not that worried about Aaron Rodgers because, as he has told us many times, he was immunized, so he'll be just fine. Don't worry about Aaron Rodgers. It'll be.
And Rod, don't worry about if Aaron Rodgers goes down. They have Drew Aller, and Drew Aller is the greatest quarterback ever. Apparently, he's 154 yards and 2 touchdowns today. So I think they got that.
Was that the kid from Penn State who got hurt?
Yeah. Penn State guy. They're gonna love him in Pittsburgh.
He got that NIL money. Wasn't he in that commercial with Terry Crews? Don't they make that point of saying, Drew Aller, here's your NIL money, and then he just shows up for a couple of seconds in a truck? Isn't that him? I don't know. It doesn't matter. We've got the Colts and the Cowboys to talk about a little bit here before we close up shop and get done with Williams. Let's go to the Cowboys. I'm telling you, Chris, I gotta eat a little bit of crow here. I think there's a few football writers, football podcasters out there in the world that are eating a little bit of crow. The Brian Schottenheimer experience was not a disaster. He might be a capable head coach. Will the Cowboys have enough talent to get as far as their fans want them to? Williams is about to tell us.
Yeah, Dallas over 8.5, minus 150. So it's major juice there to think they're going to go over 8.5. Last year, the Cowboys played the second easiest schedule, but trailed in 16 of 17 games. How does that happen? And that was with the number 2 most efficient offense in the league. This is why I was so heavy and so high on George Pickens last year. I thought the Cowboys offense had a chance to be high octane all year. They played the 7th easiest schedule of opposing defenses. Their offense was the number 1 most efficient early down offense for the Cowboys this century, number 2 most efficient offense overall this century for the Cowboys last year. They were 4th in yards per play and 5th in points per drive. But if you can believe it, there might be more room for improvement in 2026 because they were only 18th in red zone touchdown rate. And offensively, they're just spending about the same as last year, just outside the top 5. Number 2 at wide receiver, but bottom 10 on the O-line. Defensively, they're also spending about the same, bottom 6 or 7. They are saving at linebacker, spending the least of any team, but in the top half at spending at cornerback and safety. The Cowboys are playing, though, one of the 5 toughest schedules in the league, the number 1 largest overall increase in schedule difficulty by a mile from what they played last year. They do have the 3rd best net rest advantage, though, in the league at plus 12 days. The defense last year gave up over 30 points per game. That was dead last, and they also gave up the most passing yards per game, not to mention dead last in explosive play rate allowed. So the boys only went 1-5 versus playoff teams last year. Chris, can they win the division this year, though?
I mean, I think they can. So here's the thing, right? We do have a potent offense. The key is whether or not we did enough upgrades on defense to not be the worst in the league. If we're not the worst in the league, we probably win our division last year. But it's still frustrating, right? Because I think we have a capable secondary and capable pass rushers, but we still don't have solid mid linebackers or a interior defensive lineman that I would consider run stoppers. So we're still susceptible against a run. Please, God, Prescott and the offense keep being as efficient as you were, so we can force teams to have to throw against us and not run the ball. So they run the ball, I think we're cooked.
I like it. He sounds a little optimistic. We know Chris is the voice of the fan around here. He's always fired up about things. Listen, the NFL is better when the Cowboys are good. Let's go. Dak Prescott might be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. We are arguing so often about the middle tier of quarterbacks, and then basically we're like, oh yeah, Dak Prescott just puts up all these great stats and gets it done. So I'm looking for good things out of the Cowboys. A team that I'm actually not looking for that great of things out of, but I keep hearing other people seem to think that they might be good. And I heard Shio Kapadia the other day say that he thinks their team might be a top 10 defense. I thought that was wild. Williams, what do you think about our Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, over 8.5, but plus 145. So complete opposite juice of Dallas. Books think that Indy's going to go under 8.5 there. One of the few teams, though, that are bringing back all three of their the head coach, the OC, and the DC, with Steichen and Jim Bob Cater and Anarumo all back. Strength of schedule for the Colts, 9th easiest schedule, so that's decent. But the net rest tied for 24th worst at -6 days. But no team was a bigger surprise to the market than the 2025 Indianapolis Colts. The bookmakers had their season-long win total at 7.5, but by week 10, they already had won 8 games. Only other team to do that in the last decade had some guy named Mahomes playing in his first full season. A total offensive spending goes down 9 spots to 20th. O-line down 8 spots to 22nd. Wide receiver down 17 spots to 23rd. Total defensive spending top 6, but D-line spending goes down from and Charvarius Ward can help the next to last passing yards allowed per game metric from last season. In 2023, Danny Dimes was 1-5. In 2024, he was 2-8. Then Shane Steichen gets a hold of him, and they win 8 of their first 10 games in 25 before the injury. After 10 weeks, the Colts sat number 1 in 14 different advanced metrics on offense. 14 with Danny Dimes. They punted on only 19% of their drives, which ranked number 2 since 2000. The Colts were the first team in NFL history to score on each of its first 10 possessions to start the season. JT was also averaging 6 yards per carry through the first 10 games. Colts had the 3rd highest early down pass rate in the first half of games through week 10. Shout out to Steichen there. Up from next to last the previous year when they had to go with Richardson, Flacco, and Englinger. The Colts are top 5 in 4th down conversion rate, and EPA added on 4th down in Steichen's 3-year run as head coach. The big question here lately is how bad is Alec Pierce's injury? Seems like Ballard is protecting him there. Last thing on the Colts, against bottom 16 teams in efficiency last year, they went 7-0. Against top in efficiency, they only went 1-9. So it definitely depends on scheduling when it comes down to a lot of these teams.
I think September is going to be tough for Indianapolis when you have Baltimore, Kansas City, and then Houston right off the bat.
Yeah, it's a tough start.
Well, and
Just
tonight,
September, though.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Just September, Chris. You think that's the only tough time the Colts are going to have? It's going to be smooth
I'm just
sailing
saying,
for the Colts in the other months.
That's tough to start the season with. You know, October's better. Then you have the Commandos, the Steelers, the Titans, and the Vikings. We're not high on those teams.
We have a better quarterback than 2 of those 4 teams. I mean, Jimmy Jam, I don't want to break bad yet. Let's get your thoughts on the Colts.
Well, Anthony Richardson did a lot for himself tonight as the backup quarterback that might get traded. He had a pretty good game. Of course, he fumbled like he usually does and threw an interception, but he also had a touchdown run and had 145 yards. So that's good. I think the Colts are. They need to make sure their receivers are healthy, and right now they're not. And if their receivers are not healthy, they are in big trouble. They didn't use Tyler Warren to the best they could have last year either, so I think they have a long way to go on offense. And that defense does worry me too, Williams. They lost a couple people. I know that they think they're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be as bad as Rod thinks they are. But unfortunately, I think they're just going to be right in that 7, 8, 9 win range.
I don't understand what I'm supposed to be excited for. I got zero idea what I'm supposed to be excited for. We've got a lame duck GM. We've got what seems to be a lame duck coach that I feel kind of bad for because I think the guy can actually call decent plays, but I'm not entirely sure that he's a great head coach. And I'm sorry. I don't believe in Danny Dimes. I don't care about the 10 games last year. I don't understand why in the world you give somebody with Danny Dimes' resume $50 million. I doubly don't understand why you give somebody with Danny Dimes' resume coming off an ACL tear $50 million. Like, I don't understand why I am a Colts fan am supposed to grab a hold of any of what they're serving me right now down in Indianapolis. Williams just said it right there. They cut back spending on everything. So you're going to cut back spending, but you can't fire the GM and the head coach who clearly haven't done a good job according to the owner's own standards. That's the other thing I don't get. She basically comes out at the end of the year and says, this isn't good enough. This is not what we're going to be about, and then rolls it back. I don't understand. Count me as Danny Dimes' number one disbeliever. And you guys can roast me for it if the Colts look good 5 weeks in again, but I just don't believe Danny Dimes is real. Sorry.
So Rod, if they do look good, let's say the Colts are 4-1 after 5. Are you going to believe then? When is it going to be, hey, I was wrong, they're doing good? I mean, is it going to take the 10 or 11 weeks?
I suppose I would be willing to start to renegotiate my own feelings because of Chris's point about how September is full of some pretty good teams. So I would have to say to myself, okay, here's a guy coming back off an ACL, going up against some good teams, and still looking pretty good because Williams laid it out there. When he lit the world on fire last year, the schedule wasn't incredibly tough, right? So I think I probably will still be skeptical, Jimmy. You know me too well, but I will try to be realistic about it and give him the credit I think he will be due at that point.
Okay, that's fair.
The reason you should be excited anyway, Rod, is because you're a Colts fan. And before we play the games, anything is still possible. All right? Literally anything is still possible. No one but the most diehard Seattle fan last year thought the Seahawks were going to win the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold as their quarterback. All right? And yet it became reality. So anything is possible. That's why you need to be excited.
Okay, I think that's fair too. I mean, really, Rod, the Colts have a chance to right a lot of wrongs from last year. And if they don't, then you're going to have a whole new administration come in.
And that administration will be able to draft a quarterback at the top. Oh, wait a minute. They won't. They won't be able to draft a quarterback at the top of the draft because we had to trade 2 first-round draft picks for Sauce Gardner. If only anybody on this podcast would have called that one for a train wreck.
Yeah, you are right on that one. Hey, before we head out of the football portion, let's call out a couple of our boys. Jeremiah Love, Fernando Mendoza had some good games tonight. They looked very good. I love the fact that Jeremiah was in the game running. The Cardinals coaching staff thought that a lot of rookie running backs didn't really get off to a good start because they didn't play too much in the preseason. I love that. And then Mendoza got a lot of good looks and a lot of really accurate, sharp passes, Chris. I'm loving it. I know you are too.
Right, 10 to 15, 100 yards or just under 100 yards, I think, and a touchdown. So, yeah, right, it's exactly what you want to see. And kudos to the kid, right? I wish he was starting, but hey, keep doing you. We know he is going to be successful because he's the one that's going to put in the work.
Yep.
Over or under 50% of Fernando Mendoza's diet at this point being avocados because of his now relationship with Tom Brady. What do you guys think?
Doesn't Tom Brady eat McDonald's now too? Or doesn't he want to? Doesn't he do that now?
I love some
Well, but
avocados.
I think Guerrero, the architect of the TB12 method, is some sort of a Raiders employee. So I'd imagine there's like avocados and strawberries, I believe, is all Tom ate when he played. I don't know. I don't keep up on what he's up to these days. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to because he's gonna start wrestling somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't knock the avocados, Rod. Love some avocados.
From Mexico, right? Isn't that the avocados from Mexico? Isn't that the thing?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm not a big guacamole guy. I'm just not. I'll be honest with you. It's just too neon green. Things that you eat are not supposed to be that color.
This is so weird. We're talking about avocados. We got wrestling to talk about. This is like the end of the show comments that we do, but it's not the end of the show.
One of Rod's new favorite wrestlers is the iguana, and I'm pretty sure he's the same shade of green as the avocado.
First of all,
I'm not trying to eat Mr. Iguana. I'm not trying to eat him.
With that, you've been listening to the Morgan You Know's football portion of the podcast. We're going to go right now into the Yeah We Know wrestling portion of the Morgan You Know podcast. That is right. We are talking WWE. Again, like Rod said, we know there's some big indie fans of AEW, but we'll talk about that probably never unless Dax comes back on. We do need to talk about some bad news, though. Chelsea Green, our girl, got injured by fatal influence, double team move, then Lainey Reed accidentally just landed on her head, fracturing her orbital bone. So, just wins the interim title, just is named the actual champion because Rhea Ripley's out, then gets hurt. Good news is, I think she's going to work through it, Rod.
Yeah, man, I saw all of that sort of unfold, and I was like, man, we just cannot get away from the injury bug when it comes to ladies and belts, it seems. But shout out to Chelsea Green, because you don't want to see a person like her that had to work this hard to get to the top of the mountain that she's at right now and then have it go away for a orbital bone fracture. So I don't think we're going to see her drop the belt anytime soon, Jimmy, because I think she's going to be doing some light work possibly, but at least we're going to have the belt stay static for a little while, and that's good.
I think so, and she's worn the mask before, Chris, so she'll be okay. Usually you have a mask on doing the show, so this is kind of weird. People get to see your face.
I was going to say, when I heard orbital bone, that was my first thought. I was like, okay, she can wear a mask and be protected, right? I mean, maybe not take quite the bumps that she was taking, but it can get her through. And I think you're right. We can stretch this out and let her have the belt a lot longer, maybe than they were planning on it, which I'm going to love. Let Chelsea run with it.
I agree. And Liv Morgan had it forever, never, ever defended it. So what's the difference, right? And of course, we'll have Chelsea Green out there. So coming up this week on SmackDown, there's a lot going on right now. And we have our CM Punk and Kevin Owens face-to-face again. There's been a lot of backstory to this, which I think is interesting. You know, how these guys grew up in the indies, and CM Punk was kind of the older guy there, and then Kevin Owens came in, and apparently there was some beef backstage about Kevin Owens wearing a shirt instead of a singlet, and a lot of that came out real. And it is cool to see, you know, two of the wrestlers I like the most. I obviously am a huge Kevin Owens fan here. I like, Rod, that Kevin Owens is going face and CM Punk's going heel, though. I think they're going to go that way pretty hard.
Yeah, it was incredibly easy for me, I must admit, to instantly fall into hating CM Punk once again, because I had begrudgingly come around and started to earn a little bit of respect for him. And like, I've talked about it on this podcast before, that like all wrestlers are arrogant. Yes. So like anytime I say that a wrestler seems arrogant, it's completely stupid. But like, there's just something about CM Punk's arrogance that like, I was just like, F this guy, man. Like I was all 100% behind Kevin Owens, and I was just like, you know what I mean? Like I just felt gross about CM Punk all of a sudden. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, you really are kind of a dick. You really do think you're better than everybody else. Like I know all wrestlers think that, but like there's just something different about the way you carry yourself with it. And so I was all behind Kevin Owens for that. And I was like, okay, they're probably they know exactly what they're doing here, but albeit they got me again because I was like, oh man, these guys hate each other. They seriously are about to punch one another. So good work to them.
Chris, we all know you're backing CM Punk here. I don't understand why you continuously let him talk like he's talking to other people and back him. Like, I mean, are you drinking the Kool-Aid a little too much?
One thing that I do like about this is Kevin Owens continues to just show how good he is at showing real emotion out there, right? Like you believe, and we know there's a little bit of truth behind it, but we believe everything he says. And it's easy to hate on Phil if you're sitting over here on this side. So welcome back, Rod. All right, I've been here the whole time. It's about time that you've come to realize what Phil stands for, and it's nothing good for the WWE.
All right, so since you called Rod out for jumping off the bandwagon and back on, I think we have to. Rod made this bandwagon. He liked this wrestler even before the wrestler liked this wrestler. Okay, Solo Sikoa Pew Pew was the best thing on Raw. Main event was fine, but that opening segment was gold, Rod. Gold.
Oh, when he dropped down to the floor and then looked behind him and said, "Is everybody okay back here?" I mean, when he did that, that was absolutely phenomenal. Like, you rarely see wrestlers go at other wrestlers' catchphrases the way that Solo has just chosen to go after all of his brother's catchphrases, and I'm here for it. And Jimmy, I thank you for giving me that credit. I certainly am quick to give myself credit, but I appreciate it when it comes from you guys. And I have sung Solo's praises for a long time. I've said he's great on the mic, and I said he's low key, one of the funniest guys out there, right? He's not expressively funny the way that like the Miz or Tozawa or Danhausen is, right? Like those guys are, or R-Truth, those guys are absolutely fun all times, right? Solo's more like a quick, sharp line, or the way that he will sell something, right? Or like a quick reaction he will give to a move that happens in the ring. He is just so good, and I am excited that he is back on TV because he was toiling away for a while just as the angry leader of the MFTs. We had Jeff Cobb, who wasn't really allowed to fight. We had Haku's sons who were toiling away, and they're much more. It's good for everybody with where Solo's at right now.
Oh, agreed completely. We also have this week on SmackDown, United States Championship. Baron Corbin defends his title against hometown favorite Carmelo Hayes. No chance he wins, but this might go into a three-way. What do you think, Rod?
I'm always excited for Melo to get a little bit of run. I think that guy can wrestle. I think Baron Corbin can wrestle. I think a guy like Corbin is really, really needed in the WWE right now, with a bunch of youngsters who are a little green that you're trying to bring up. Having an old trusted hand like Corbin is a good thing. But yeah, I could see what you're cooking up there, Jimmy, a three-way, right? Corbin is not necessarily a guy that garners a huge pop. So the way to make this match seem even more exciting is possibly add somebody else to it. So I think I like what Jimmy's cooking there.
If Corbin's supposed to be the vet to teach the youngins, send him back down to NXT where he's been for the past however many years, right? I mean, I didn't miss him in the WWE at all. I still don't. He's okay in the ring. He has talent, but I don't care about anything he says. I really don't. I'd much rather see the belt on Carmelo after this match.
It is interesting because it just doesn't seem right that he's the United States champion right now. I'm really happy that he worked his way back to WWE because, Chris, he wasn't in NXT. He was gone. He was Braun Breaker's tag team partner before Braun Breaker got brought up, and then he was gone after that. So it is great that he's back. You know, I always love when people get their jobs back, for sure. But, yeah, it is kind of strange there. It seems like he's a transitional champion that might be a little longer than a normal transitional champion. Chris, I do want to go back to you on this one, though, because there is a new guy who was an old guy who came back as well. Big Cass is back. Last week, he beat down Javon Evans. This week, after Dragon Lee beat Dominic Mysterio clean in the middle of the ring, the AAA Mega Champion has lost, I believe, 4 times in a row. But we don't need to talk about that because that's AAA. But then he came in and beat him down. Javon then came in and fought him. What are your thoughts on Big Cass? Are you buying him? You need a little bit more time? Talk to me.
I need a little bit more time, right? It's always I don't ever want to rush to conclusions when my first introduction to somebody is them just coming out and beating up random people for apparently no reason that I can tell. Right.
Oh, so like every single debut in WWE. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So I got to give him a little bit more time. But hey, like I think he's built for it, right? Let me see him in a full match for against somebody good and see what he can do. Let's hear him on the mic a little bit more. But where did he come from? Because I haven't seen him before.
So, well, okay, yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. Rod, what are your thoughts on Big Cass? And we'll kind of give him a little history lesson here.
I will rush to judgment on one thing. His finishing move is ridiculous. I understand what we're trying to do. We're trying to prove that he's big and powerful, but the act of moving them from side to side just comes off completely awkward, and we need to cut it out. All right. Just turn it into a sidewalk slam, call it something else. We need to get rid of it. Stop it.
So he debuted in NXT back in like 2011, 2012, somewhere in there as Colin Cassidy. And then he and Enzo Amore kind of got together and made Enzo and Cass a huge tag team that was a lot more known for their shtick than their in-ring talent. But they went pretty far as popularity goes. Then he was in the independents for like 5 or 6 years, not doing very well, had some issues. Carmelo was also with Enzo and Cass, by the way. That was another thing, and he dated Carmelo back in the day, I believe. But then he finally got his life kind of back together. Went to AEW for 3 or 4 years in there. Was fine. Didn't do much. Like a lot of AEW wrestlers, they're there, then they're not for a while, and they come back, and then they're not. So that's kind of where we are now with Big Cass. It'll be interesting to see what they use him for. But right now, I don't like him going over on Javon Evans like that because I think Javon Evans needs to win. Yeah, go ahead, Rod. Your mic's muted.
I'm still questioning where we go with Javon Evans, so I will agree with you there that if Javon Evans is going to be a thing, we can't keep having him lose. But I'd also, what are you doing questioning Dominic Mysterio losing? That's all he does. I've talked about this. This has been another one of my things. I've had randos on the internet yell at me about that, even though I was dead right about Dominic Mysterio's win-loss record.
No, you are. You were right about that one for sure. Speaking about wins and losses that matter, we have a championship match on the Raw in Mexico City coming up in when is that? That is the September 14th. So we have all these luchadors going against each other to finally face Roman Reigns. Penta beat Laredo Kid on Monday night. We have Psycho Clown against L.A. Park, or I guess La Parka, sorry. Dragon Lee versus El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. and Rey Fenix versus El Fiscal. I believe this is going to be a Penta. Do you think it's Penta and Dragon Lee? Or I think it should be Penta and Rey Fenix. The brothers should go against each other. And finally, Rod, give Rey Fenix a really, really solid 15, 20-minute match that he loses to Penta.
Yeah, I echo your thoughts completely, Jimmy Jam. We need something for Penta here. For Rey Fenix here, we don't really need something for Penta. Penta getting served up as a side dish to Roman Reigns doesn't really do anything for Penta, but it sort of does do something for Rey Fenix. So I'm with you. Brothers battle for the right to lose to Roman Reigns. Let's get after it.
Chris?
I don't know how to put this without making luchador fans mad. So I'm not trying to make luchador fans mad because I love luchadors. I love the whole thing. I'm not big into AAA. But if the WWE wants me or fans like me to start paying attention to AAA, then you have someone beat Roman Reigns in this and throw everything off kilter and make everything that much more important because this is what's it called? It's like it's not WrestleMania. What's it called?
Triple Mania.
All right. If you want this to be big, Roman needs to lose. That's all there is to it.
Chris, your hatred for Roman Reigns and the Bloodline knows no bounds. You are we knew this was going to happen. You want Penta or Rey Fenix to beat Roman Reigns for the World Championship in the Raw in Mexico City.
Yep. Whoever
Rod,
comes out of number one.
It might be the biggest moment in wrestling history. I'm not going to lie, Rod.
Okay, but the thing of that is like, fine, you have a big moment for a second, and then you turn around on Monday and LA Park is your WWE champion. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants that. You know what I mean? El Fiscal is your WWE champion. Dr. Moritz Wagner Jr., former star of Melrose Place, is your WWE champion. Nobody wants that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really what WWE fans. AAA is cool. I like that we're paying more attention to AAA. I thought that the mass versus match thing was absolutely wonderful. I like that guys like Damian Priest and a few other people get a chance to go down there and cook. But Chris, let's let that world be that world. Let's not cross the streams. You've seen Ghostbusters. What are you talking about here?
Listen, if you want people to continue to pay attention to these type of events, right? I'm not that interested in this fight because I know Roman's going to win. You guys know Roman's going to win. That makes it less interesting to me right off the bat. So if you want to make the future events like this to be as big as you want them to be, then you're going to have to shake things up every once in a while. And that would be Roman losing to Penta or Rey Fenix. That's like Hulk finally slamming Andre the Giant at the Silver Dome, all right? It's a big, huge moment in wrestling history.
Wait a minute. How's anybody that's in this AAA tournament remotely close to the level of Andre the Giant or Hulk Hogan? Like, I understand what you're trying to do here, but like, we're not really
stretching it a little thin there, Chris.
Everyone thought it was going to be impossible for Hulk to finally body slam Andre the Giant, which I know
he'd done it before.
I know, blah blah blah, but the general public didn't know that. All right, I mean, you want me to be a fan? Let me be a fan in the moment, and in that moment, that was a big thing. Andre was this monster. Hulk was the little guy in that situation. All right, so now let's have the little guy win big again. Roman's the biggest champion of the last quarter century, maybe besides Cena, right? So like let's have a big moment. Let's make these other premium live events matter.
Now hold on a second there, dude. All right. I mean, if you're trying to tell me that I, the Hulkster, was going into this match back in the Pontiac Silverdome and that I was an undertaker underdog to Andre the Giant, you're wrong, brother. All right. That wasn't going to work for me, man. I mean, I went into the match and I didn't know if the big fella was going to let me pin him. All right. But he did. And it was the greatest match in wrestling history.
Like, why do you say that? Everyone, of course he was going to let you pin you. That's his job. Like, it's what it is. And with that, you've been listening. Go ahead.
There was nobody better at getting over Hulk Hogan than Hulk Hogan, Jimmy.
With that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know portion of the More You Know podcast. Chris, take us home.
Like, comment, subscribe, download. Goodbye, Internet.
I tell you, we talking about avocados during the football segment.
Right? I mean, I got nothing. I can't bring anything as good as the avocado.
Dude, you got Williams to talk about something not on the script, though. I just thought of that.
Really. Listen, you guys know rare. Secretly that's my hope every week. My hope every week is to just crack Williams and to break him from the script. And I usually